already have 10 million gold, and I'm literally going to buy the golden clock the second I open my game next. Hello, wizard. I am not here for you. Ah, you guys! Right there. What? Huh? Is that because I didn't talk to him for like a year? I finally reached 100% perfection in Stardew Valley. Hello everyone, my name is Audie and welcome to my little corner of the internet. Here's a little context. About 2 years ago, I reached 100% perfection in Stardew Valley during my playthrough on Twitch. However, shortly after that, external circumstances caused me to take an extended break from Twitch. When I finally felt ready to come back, it just kind of felt like a given that I would come back and play Stardew Valley. So, 6 months ago, I started a journey to reach 100% perfection in Stardew Valley. And just to say it one more time, this is only my second ever playthrough of Stardew Valley, so there are gonna be some rough patches, okay? For those of you who haven't reached 100% perfection before or may not know, there are 11 requirements that a person has to complete in order for the game to say that they have reached 100%. The 11 requirements are: ship all produce and foraged items, build all 4 obelisks, build the golden clock, complete all monster slaying goals, reach maximum friendship with everyone, maximize all skills, find every star drop, cook all recipes, craft every item, catch all fish, and find every golden walnut. If you want more info on that, I will link the 100% perfection article from thegamer.com down below. It was a really helpful resource for me during the end of this playthrough. This video is not going to be a comprehensive day-by-day breakdown of each season and what I did to reach 100%. However, I have already made a day-to-day breakdown of this series, so I will link the Stardew Valley Perfection Run playlist down below in the description. I have spent a significant chunk of this last year working on this perfection run and making videos for this series. To be honest, it doesn't feel real that it's actually over. And I want to clarify, I purposely sped through the last portion of this playthrough because I specifically wanted to get this run done before the 1.6 update came out. I wasn't sure if new 100% content was going to be in the update, and I didn't want to have to try and find new content and do new things in the middle of my perfection run. Anyway, what I really want to do in this video is talk about my experience coming back to Stardew Valley and playing this game with the sole goal of reaching 100%. What I'm going to do is separate this video into 3 different chapters: the Community Center, Ginger Island, and Perfection. Really quick before we get into part 1, please subscribe and like the video. It really helps me as a creator. Also, please go over and follow me on Twitch. My next project is going to be in The Sims, and I'm going to be starting it over on my Twitch shortly. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get into it. Okay, so like I mentioned, when I started this 100% playthrough, I was coming back to Stardew Valley and to content creation after almost 2 years off. I remembered really liking my last 100% playthrough, so I felt comfortable coming back to Stardew Valley after a long break. This comfort did not last long. Going into this run, I did some research about good tactics and good pacings for 100% runs. I didn't want it to be like a speed run because let's be honest, I don't know enough about this game to do that, even if I have reached 100% perfection before. I did want to beat my previous time, but I figured that was a given because obviously in my last playthrough, I had never played the game before. Actually, it's really funny. In the very first video I did for this series, I mentioned how my first playthrough took like 7 to 8 in-game years, or about 80 hours is what I said, something like that. What I meant to say was it took me about 180 hours, but nobody ever called me out or said anything about it, so anyway, I'm trying to beat my goal of 180 hours. Okay, let's talk year 1. One major resource for me during the beginning of this run was the Salmon's Stardew Valley guide videos. I'm so sorry if I said your name wrong, by the way. I will link all of the year 1 guide videos down below, but basically I used those videos to plan what I wanted to do and what I wanted to accomplish in each season. Thank you for these videos. Seriously. I think I didn't complete the community center until like year 3 in my first playthrough. Also, I need to mention the elephant in the room. I am so sorry that the game is so zoomed in for like half the playthrough. I didn't realize how much of a difference it would make. I was playing on a smaller resolution because it made it easier for me to monitor my stream, but it's gonna be okay. We're just gonna ignore it. For me, year 1 was all about completing the community center. I broke each season down into each week, and then I decided what I needed to do each week in order to complete what I needed to do for each season. Year 1 spring is always super high pressure. Basically, my idea was that I was going to complete the spring bundles as quickly as possible so I could make more spring seeds for money, and then use the fertilizer from the spring crops bundle on strawberry seeds from the festival. Well, this is where my confidence broke, and I actually considered restarting this run on my second stream. I did not find a leak until day 15. That was like soul-crushing. I knew that spring seeds were a great way to make money early on, and I knew that I wanted to make as much money as I could. So by not finding a leak, I couldn't complete the spring foraging bundle, and I was missing out on a lot of money. I really thought about restarting, and I do think that if I hadn't found one on day 15, I probably would have restarted. If I do a 100% run again, hopefully I have better luck with leaks. Spring was also my time to get reintroduced to all the characters after not seeing them or anything about this game for almost 2 years. In my first playthrough, I married Shane, which...
Huh? What? Oh. Okay.
To be honest, I wasn't really sure who to marry in this playthrough. I ended up letting chat decide because I'm indecisive, and chat decided that I should marry Elliot. Year 1 summer was rough, but I made a lot of progress. I built a chicken coop and a barn, finished the mines, got a dinosaur named Lupert, and made quite a bit of money. However, despite what you may think, I am a human and I do make mistakes. And this one was a fatal mistake. I did not collect 5 golden melons for the community center. I also didn't collect 5 gold parsnips for the community center, meaning I could not complete the quality crops bundle in year 1 and therefore could not complete the community center in year 1. I learned later on in this playthrough that I should be a hoarder and keep a ton of absolutely everything, so I would definitely focus more on that in another run. Despite knowing I wasn't going to be able to complete the community center in year 1, I spent the rest of fall and winter working to try to get everything else done so that I could complete the community center as soon as possible. I completed every other bundle with only 2 left incomplete by the end of year 1. I only needed a rabbit's foot, and then I needed 5 gold parsnips in order to finish the quality crops bundle. I got 2 star drops in year 1 also, the Stardew Valley Fair star drop and the one from Old Master Cannoli in the Woods. I also finished the mines and reached level 100 of Skull Cavern. Super early on in year 2, on day 5 actually, I got super lucky and I was able to complete the community center. It happened just on pure luck. I harvested 5 gold parsnips that morning, but I still didn't have a rabbit's foot. By some miracle, I was able to find one at the traveling cart that same day and completed the community center. My biggest struggles for the community center were mostly due to my own inexperience and bad RNG, but I think for my second playthrough, completing the community center on year 2, day 5 is pretty good. If I were to change my strategy for another run, I would focus more on growing crops and keeping like 4 or 5 of everything in the game. Also, I would actually take birthdays and relationships with other villagers more seriously in the early game. It wasn't too long after I entered the rabbit's foot into the Enchanter's bundle and completed the community center that I paid a visit to Willy and he asked me to follow him into the back room. If you all didn't know, I care very deeply about Willy. In fact, I see him as my dearest friend. Therefore, when he showed me the broken down boat in the back of his shop, fixing it up became my first priority. Ginger Island is probably my favorite area in the game. I really love how challenging finding all the golden walnuts is, and once you unlock the cheat room, you can directly measure and see your progress towards 100%, which is really helpful. Anyway, I was able to fix up the boat and unlock Ginger Island in year 2 spring, but I didn't really feel like I had the resources to take it on just yet. I did remember the location of a couple of the golden walnuts off the top of my head, so I did what I could, but it wasn't really until year 2 fall that I actually took time to complete stuff on Ginger Island. I unlocked Professor Snail early on, and I answered his questions and spent a good amount of time working on his quest for fossils. To be honest, I had to look up how to find all the fossils because I always forget that panning exists. I was walking around wondering where the spine and tail fossils were, only to realize I needed to fish and pan. I finished this quest earlier in another run because, well, I know what to do that time around, hopefully. Other than the volcano, I love every single part of Ginger Island. The frogs quest is really fun because it teaches you that you can grow any type of crop on Ginger Island. Plus, I just like the frog. Also, I love the Pirate's Cove. The darts game isn't hard, but it's also not easy. Do you know what I mean? The only thing on Ginger Island that I actually really struggle with is the gem memory game. I actually had to have chat cheat for me in order to beat it. Oh, and another thing I didn't like was the bird gem quest thing. I didn't realize that you could just put a gem in and it didn't actually have to be from the bird, so I would probably probably finish that one a lot faster in my next playthrough. That would have saved me a lot of time and frustration. Alright, so I have not been quiet about the fact that I hate the volcano. It's not that I think it's bad or not fun, it's just I'm bad at combat, so I have an aversion to places like the mines and Skull Cavern and the volcano because I'm just not good at it and really I'm afraid I'm gonna die. But I reached level 10 of the volcano pretty quickly, although I had to spend a lot more time in there than I wanted because I had to kill 50 magma sprites for the Monster Hunter quest, but I also had to collect like 15 dragon teeth for crafting and building the island obelisk. I'm not gonna lie, collecting the dragon teeth was super annoying and I really hate the volcano. And of course, a major part of Ginger Island is the second farm. I ended up using it as a starfruit and ancient fruit farm, and I also used it for the Chi Bean quest. I had a pretty good amount of kegs scattered around too, some of which I didn't even use before I reached 10 million gold and got 100%. If I were to give future me some advice, I think I would have actually used the greenhouse on the original farm to grow coffee, and then Ginger Island to grow starfruit and ancient fruit. I wasted so much money on coffee and bombs in this playthrough, it's not even funny. Not just in the volcano, but like everywhere. And I wish I would have just grown coffee in the greenhouse so I would have had an endless source and I wouldn't have to pay for it every day. There is one more thing I do want to mention. I wish that areas that you had already completed had more to do. For example, even after reaching level 10 of the volcano or level 100 of the Skull Cavern, there is a constant need to go back for more resources or to collect geodes or whatever. It becomes a consistent part of playing the game. However, the Pirate's Cove or the Community Center or the Island Resort, once completed, you can literally ignore them forever. I just wish there was something to do. I know you can go back and play darts in the Pirate's Cove, but there's not really a reason to do that. In the bar in Pelican Town, you can play Journey of the Prairie King and Junimo Kart. Both of these minigames are seen in different parts of the game, with Journey of the Prairie King being in a cutscene that you have with Abigail, and reaching a score of 50,000 in Junimo Kart is one of the Chi quests. Maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, I don't really know that much about this game, but what I do know is that my favorite parts of the game revolve around developing and understanding characters and finishing challenges. I like the Pirate's Cove and I like the Community Center. I wish I had a reason to go back there. Especially the Community Center because I spent like the entire first chunk of this playthrough working to complete it and then you have no reason to be there at all. If the 1.6 update comes out before this and there's a change to the Community Center, I'm sorry. I have a couple of things that I want to talk about before we get to the last chunk of this playthrough. This playthrough has seriously gotten me through a lot. Over the course of this playthrough, I got a new job, finished my master's degree, and I'm finishing out 2023 with this video. I just want to express my gratitude for this game and my gratitude for the support of everybody who has been with me through this playthrough. I am genuinely grateful to have been able to play this game, reach 100%, and make this YouTube project. I also want to talk about Elliot. I married Shane in my first playthrough, and wow, compared to Shane, Elliot's storyline is way more romantic. Also, his room that gets added to the house is a million times better than Shane's. Shane's was so gross and ugly. This really made me want to explore all of the romance storylines, so maybe I'll look into doing that in the future. I also want to remind you all before we get into the last part of this that I was playing this with the sole goal of reaching 100%. I had no interest in anything outside of that goal. The reason I'm saying that is that the footage of the last chunk of this playthrough, you're gonna see my farm get more and more unorganized and terrible as time goes on. I'm an organizer at heart, and it was driving me nuts too. But listen, I really did not want to devote any extra time to just cleaning up the farm, so we're gonna ignore it, okay? Cool. I don't really want to sit here and go over every single perfection goal and talk about what I liked and what I didn't like. I actually already did that, so go check out my 99% perfection video. But I do want to talk about my experience with Stardew Valley's endgame in my second playthrough and just like my thoughts about it outside of other goals like finishing the community center and completing Ginger Island. I remembered really enjoying specifically the endgame portion of Stardew Valley in my first playthrough. I had remembered a couple of things in particular that I struggled with, like killing the pepper rexes and completing cooking and crafting recipes. But I tried to make sure I was working on those constantly throughout this entire playthrough because I was trying to do everything all at once. I didn't want to leave anything to the end. I have to admit, I spent a lot of time focused on recipes and relationships. I wish I had paid more attention to birthdays and made sure to actually collect a lot of love gifts in the beginning so that I could have finished relationships more quickly. Actually, right when I went to go finish 100% and buy the golden clock, I realized that I had ignored my husband for like literally an entire year. So he was depressed and hated me. I didn't realize that because I didn't talk to him, our relationship would go down. Looking back, obviously that makes sense, but your relationship with everyone else stays the same no matter whether you talk to them or not. At least my son God didn't care whether or not I talked to him. Of course God doesn't care. He's perfect. My opinion this time around, okay, so part of this was my fault because I gave myself a time limit. I knew that the 1.6 update for Stardew was coming out like soon, and I was really worried it was gonna come out on Christmas. So I decided that I was gonna finish this run the week before Christmas so that I didn't have to worry about the update coming out and adding any new content during my playthrough. However, I felt that the end challenge bit was very tedious. Obviously, it's not supposed to be quick or easy, and I'm sure if I used different strategies, I could have completed this in a completely different way, specifically in a way that didn't cause me burnout. But by the end, frankly, I was bored. I truly, absolutely adore this game, but I did find myself ready to move on like halfway through this playthrough. I hope 1.6 adds some amazing new content. I'm sure I'll play it eventually. Would I recommend doing a 100% run? Absolutely. I think reaching 100% in Stardew Valley is a great way to make sure that you experience everything that Stardew Valley has to offer. It helps to prove to yourself that you can accomplish hard things that you set out to do, and I do think that it is an aspect of the game that every Stardew Valley enjoyer should do at least once. I find it hard to put my feelings about this game into words. To be honest, it kind of feels like when you're a senior in high school or college and the end is in sight and you're like so close, but you still have a few things that you have to do before you're done, and all of the things you have to do before you're done suck. It is kind of fitting that I was working on this project while finishing my master's degree. Stardew Valley, I love you, but oh boy am I excited to take a break for a while. So let's seriously take a second to talk about what I would do differently if I were going to do another Stardew Valley Perfection Run. Once again, advice is completely welcome in the comments. I really don't know that much about this game and what strategies and tactics work best, so please leave comments down below. But here's what I think I would do differently next time. I would grow coffee in the greenhouse and then do starfruit and ancient fruit on Ginger Island. Like I said earlier, I wasted literally so much money that I didn't need to. I just wish I would have made coffee, and I wish I would have started using coffee way earlier because I was slow walking for like half this playthrough. Also, I would use another farm type. I ended up going with the standard farm in this run because I was familiar with it. However, I think I would pick the forest farm next time. Also, I think in another run, I would look up different ways to make more money earlier on in the game. Oh, and obviously I would want to finish the community center in year 1. Thank you all so much for watching this series. Like I said, this project has been very special to me, and I genuinely want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to watch my videos. I am gonna start working on some new projects soon, though hopefully not as intense as this one. Please like this video and subscribe to support me as a creator. I really appreciate you being here. I will see all of you next time. Hello, good. Here we go. Oh. I'm really glad we didn't have to get all the way up to 14 hearts. Hey, Audie. Hi, Elliot. I'm really good. Hi, Raven. You guys came in at the perfect time. It's so beautiful up here. We just reached 100% just now. I was just thinking about the last 5 years. Look. We've been through a lot. That's what, you know what? That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it. I called you ads, my bad. Oh, no worries. The ups and downs. Yeah, literally. Because I didn't talk to him for like a whole year. I'm sorry, Elliot. But look how far we've come. Yes. Look how far I've come. I had to postpone this to year 5. I was going to be done in year 4, but now it's year 5 because of you. Huh. It just dawned on me. We've reached the summit, but not just physically. Metaphorically as well. Sorry, my camera's right in front of it. How poetic. Heart. Aww. The bird carrying Krobus along the top.